Hello, everyone. This is James Song here. Nice to see you again. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you are all very well. So today we are covering speaking section, another question one type of question in speaking section of the TOEFL test. So let's get started. As you can see on the screen, the question is, let's read it out together. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? So you either agree by saying yes or disagree, okay? No right or wrong answer, obviously. It's just expressing your opinion, please remember. And you have to remember this so that you can come up with the reasons and ideas freely, right? The moment you unconsciously think there is a better answer or right answer, then you may struggle to come up with your own idea, okay? So let's have a look at this question. Parents should be involved in what? The process of helping their children to choose a career. So basically, this question is saying parents should involve themselves in helping their children to choose a career. So play a part or talk to them or, give them advice or, whatever. Should get themselves involved and help them. So parents should help them actively, should help children, their own children, to choose their career. So if you agree, yes. If you think no, they should stay away. They should not even try. They should not help. They should not be involved in their own children choosing their career, okay? So, I mean, like, for me, it's an obvious yes for me, in my case, right? So I chose yes. Let me write notes. So let's start with no, which I didn't choose. So, quick thinking, you only have 15 seconds. You might think because parents may be very different from their children, right? And they may wrongly think they are similar. I mean, obviously, it's just your opinion. It would not include all the situation. What I'm trying to say is some parents would be very similar to their children in whatever the way, right? And some parents may be quite different. So as long as it's not an extreme answer, or you cannot think of reasons and details to back it up, it's fine, right? Because the question itself is very extreme, right? The question itself is a very generalized, extreme question, right? So you could say, parents may be quite different from their children, but they may think they're similar, and they could give like a bad advice that doesn't fit with their own children, right? And another reason, quick thinking, maybe it's very outdated, kind of ignoring older generation. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, as long as you can back it up. If you have chosen no, parents, please stay away. Don't even try. Don't help me. I don't need your help, please, right? Then probably they would think this sounds awful, but just to create the answer. I chose yes, by the way. Then you might express your opinion that parents' advice may be outdated, okay? So it's old-fashioned, and they have their own experience, but that's 30 years ago, for example, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. So, it might have negative influence on children rather than positive, because the world now is very different from 30 years ago. Okay. Yeah. It is a little, not extreme, but, a little one-sided answer, because the question is encouraging you to, take a, very like extreme side, because in reality, it's a matter of degree, isn't it? Like, this question doesn't even exist to say yes or no, like ideally, parents, to be politically right, parents should be involved to the certain level, but, ideally, theoretically, not too much, not too little. That's the right answer, right? So, you have to generalize a little bit because they are asking you to, but as long as you can back it up with the logical reason, then it's fine, right? So if you're really good, you would come up with 2 reasons. No, they should not be involved, because parents may be very different. They may not understand their children. Then bad advice. And it's very outdated. It's old-fashioned. It doesn't apply today. It may be a bad advice that doesn't fit right now. Okay, so obviously I spoke to help you understand, but as long as you're thinking this way, the way I spoke, if you've written it down in words, then that's what you are looking to achieve in 15 seconds by writing notes, like how I spoke in 15 seconds. Okay. So I chose yes, it's obvious to me, because, they could give us some valuable advice, good advice that could work, because they have their own experience, they can share us their stories, good, bad, and ugly, outcome, something that worked out, something that haven't. So we can definitely learn from it as children when we're choosing our career. So I chose this as like a explanation, relatively brief to the example. I decided I'm just going to explain it logically without giving an example. I'll give an example on my second body paragraph. So the second one is, what was it? Yeah. I think parents know their kids well to give a suitable advice, because, share same DNA. They raised us for almost 2 decades, 15 years, 20 years, how long ever that before you choosing your job and leaving home. See, this is the beauty of this question. Like, if you chose no, you could say parents may not understand children well enough to give a suitable advice, because they may mistakenly think they know their kids, but they don't. That can be the reason on disagreement side, because it's expressing your own opinion. Like, by disagreeing to this statement, effectively, you are already saying, in a nutshell, parents will not be helpful if they involve themselves, right? They're very negative about parents trying to help directly their children to decide their career. So, your reason might be parents, maybe very different from their children, can be the right reasoning, okay? Because this is a speaking test. There is no right or wrong answer on question 1. But on the other hand, if you chose yes, you are already saying it's beneficial for parents to get involved and help out their kids. They should help. It is helpful. So it's very positive about parents, getting involved in helping their children. So the reason can be because most of the time, not always, generally speaking, in my opinion, Parents know their children better, so they can give a suitable suggestion. Yeah, because you're positive. So these two reasons are almost opposite. Of course, it has to be opposite because one disagrees and one agrees. You understand what I'm trying to say, right? This is really important point. Be subjective as long as you can back it up logically, because it's question one. You are expressing your own opinion. Okay, so you should never forget that, to come up with your reasons and answers quickly, and your ideas will come, plenty of ideas will come very easily. All right. Yeah. So let me go through the yes answer. So, I said, so that's the explanation. I just explained. Okay. And the example, I'm going to say, like, my mom, by raising me, knows my strengths and weaknesses. I'm pretty good at numbers, and I have a desire to learn about finance, wealth, how to make money. So she advised me to find a job in finance, right? And I did, and it's working out very well for me. I think it's based on my mother's analysis of me, because she knows me very well. Of course, you won't be able to say all of that, but kind of focus on your reason and try to make an example instantaneously, like immediately, because it's a speaking test. You have to. It's a quite challenging task, but we need to practice, and we need to be able to do it, right? Okay. So my brainstorming might be, yeah, of course, because valuable advice, because they experienced they have their own stories to share. And second, parents know their children. So my mom knows I'm good at numbers. I want to make money. Suggest me to try to join a bank, and worked out, right? Something like this, okay, in 15 seconds. Or if you struggle to write down ideas for explanation, you don't have to, right? If you have too solid reason and 15 seconds was too short, this sometimes happens to me even when I take the test, okay? And I have no trouble, like working out, okay, after a lot of practice, right? So if you have too solid reason, you just have to remember you need to either explain it in more detail, be coherent, connected to your reason, or make up a quick example, 2 or 3 sentences max. Okay, that's all you have to do. All right, so let's look at the answers. So in 45 seconds, so really focus, as I always say, how my notes became the full sentences, okay? So because that's what you need to achieve in the real test, because you won't be able to look at the script, obviously, in the real test. Start speaking now. Beep. I agree with the statement that parents should help their children to choose their careers. First, parents can give some valuable advice based on their experiences. Most parents have a real life experience in deciding which career to choose and the final outcome. So their own stories and advice can become a valuable lesson to their children. Second, parents can understand their children well to suggest a suitable career. For example, my mother knew my strengths objectively by raising me that I'm pretty good at numbers and interested in how to create wealth. So she advised me to work in finance. Thankfully, I found work and worked out well so far. Okay, so something like this. Okay, something like this, guys. All right, and the words count. Usually, the maximum you will be able to speak in the test would be between maybe 110 words to 130 words, So like if you're working out a script and if it's like 160, 170 words, you won't be able to put it all in 45 seconds. Okay. Anyway, there you go. So Another question done completely, I believe. Thanks for watching till the end, and let's keep improving together to achieve the score that you want. And I'm here to help you. All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you chose me to study with, and I'll come back with another video. So see you then. Bye.